this is,
Mira?
I think you're going to have to move over a little bit, Ray. I can't, without you doing it, I can't. That way.
To the left.
Towards me.
To the left. That's it. Good. Thank you.
I can move one chair out.
Okay, great. I'll move here a little bit. And can you see over everybody's head?
Yeah.
That's
With the
correct.
camera? All right. Hello, welcome.
Yes, I'm here to stay. Tucson University.
So, and Brenton is all changed. Brenton, am I saying your name right? Brenton?
Yep, that's perfect.
Great. Oh, when we can hear you beautifully. So let's begin with one sentence, name and who you are as we go around, and then I'll talk a little bit, about our agenda. So I'll begin. I'm Charlotte Wile, and I'm the Theory Bulletin Board moderator at the Bureau, and also primary tutor and developer of the motif notation online course. Go.
Ray Cook, notator. Retired from teaching at Vassar College.
Lynne.
I'm Lynne Weber, Executive Director, currently. Formerly a notator. I guess you never stop being a notator.
We skipped May.
Yeah.
Oh,
Me.
I
Go
can
ahead.
come last. Oh, hi. I'm May. I'm the DNB librarian. Brenton, it's
I'm
your
Brenton.
turn.
I'm staff notator at the DNB.
And Brenton,
I'm Sandra. I'm a DNB staff notator.
you want to tell us you're
Oh,
next.
that's right.
You're next on the circle after Lynn. You can't tell, but you're the talking head. Brenton, tell us about yourself a minute.
Okay, sure. Brenton Cheng, faculty with Integrated Movement Studies, and first time here joining you all. So thanks for letting me in. I realize it's an experiment, and I'll try, not to make too much of a mess.
Faculty where?
With Integrated Movement Studies.
With the Peggy Hackney.
That's Peggy.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's Peggy. Okay.
That's
got it.
Lynn's, but
Yes,
Peggy
got it.
Slim.
Okay.
Yes, but where do you live?
Okay. I'm calling you from Oakland, California.
Yay.
And I'm also very interested in notation and movement literacy and getting people online and helping create tools to do all of the above.
Yay.
And I'm Kyle, and this is also my very first time, and I am not a notator by trade, but am coming into it, and I'm excited about it.
I train.
And did she introduce herself?
Yes.
Sandra. And last, but of course, not
Yes,
least,
of course. It's Anne.
Anne.
Oh dear. For my sins. Hello, Brenton.
Hello.
Nice to see you, and I have been meaning to send to you my concerns about the effort-shaped work.
Oh, great.
I
Great,
didn't
great,
get
great.
around to it because I think you, from what you have sent of our emails, are maybe more open to considering the points I make.
That would be wonderful.
We'll see. I'll try and get that done when
Okay.
I get home. That'll be another month.
Great. Thank you.
So, wonderful. So, we're ready to begin. Before we have to do, Teresa, what's Teresa's last name? Highland emailed me last night and asked if I would give you a flyer. She is involved with setting up a Journal of Movement Arts Literacy, which maybe you read about in the listserv, but they're having a call for papers, and so she just asked if I would be willing to remind you and to consider writing a paper, and you can read about it in this flyer. So I'm just going to pass these out for you. And did I send that to you, Brendan? I don't think I did, but you might know about it.
Yeah, I've been getting, I've
So
gotten
you know
her
it already.
emails.
All right, great. Now to our agenda. I'm going to pass this out I always do that in, to save paper, I do these little scraps. But it's a little bit, it's been changed, as always happens. And it's just sort of an open, as we always do, we have kind of an open-ended agenda. So we allow sometimes these topics to evolve into other topics, but the general outline, we're going to begin with something that Anne said that she would like to talk about, and then if you turn around and you can show, Brenton, can you see, if we go like this, can you see what's on the board?
I see the bottom right corner of it, yeah. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. And maybe it would be good to just leave it like that in case we write, or you'll feel it
That's
out.
fine.
You'll know
That's
what
fine.
We write big, so you can.
Yeah, you'll see. You'll. All right. So we're going to be talking about that, but we won't first. And then the second thing that we're going to do, I think, will be Lynne's paper that she is writing for ICL, having to do with design drawing, and she would like to share and talk with that, talk with you about that. And last, Ray has got some thoughts about phrasing of direction indications, and we're going to skip the last one and save it for another meeting. Something having to do with swing-like movement that we'll do on another occasion. And I think, can somebody tell me then if are we planning on finishing
12:30.
12:30? Can we make it 12:40? Would that be okay with people? Then we don't have to divide up the time. If we have 2 hours, so that's 45 minutes per session. Does that work for everybody? Okay. So we'll begin, and so the first one, and I'm going to ask somebody else to keep track and say to me, Charlotte, it's more or less time, or give us a 10-minute warning, and then we'll know. Okay, good. So we'll begin with Anne.
Okay. I wrote a couple of symbols on the board, and the question is, what exactly do they mean?
And are you asking in LN first, or in motif notation, or either one, or?
It belongs to both.
Okay.
So, we're dealing with motion and destination. Okay? I'm not a quick. Oh! Have I got that right? Oh, right.
Yeah.
We say the Laban system notation is a movement system. It's not true. It's only true for the support column when you write that. That is the motion, and the position reached is that. But for arm gestures, for other parts of the body, the symbols indicate the end result. I raise my arm to forward middle. That's the destination. You have to know the preceding position. I lower my arm to forward middle. Same symbol, but the motion entirely different. And for a long time, we couldn't write motion. And it was the whole development of the use of the extended V sign that allowed us to do that. And so now we have motion toward forward middle, which is a destinational point, but wherever you start, you don't know how far you get, but you have the idea that you're going toward that. Yes, question?
Oh, I would just point out there's another motion portion of the system. For example, if your hand is up here and you indicate with a K sign bending,
Yes,
that's a motion as opposed to a destination.
but the degree of bending that you indicate tells you how
How far
you
you
should go.
should go, yes.
So it's a destination.
Well, it's not a destination though, in the sense that the K sign doesn't tell you it's from where you start out. It's a motion of bending. You aren't. If you are here and it's your torso, the K will take you there. If you are in a position where you're lying on your back, it will take you to a different destination. So it isn't a destination. If you just put in the K sign, it is always in relation to where you were, but that's a motion.
No,
I would-
it's a destination, because if I'm standing and I'm K X number of degrees, I arrive here at a physical destination.
See, I would,
When I'm lying on the ground, I do exactly the same thing and I have the same physical result.
you'll have the same physical result. I don't disagree, but I would disagree on saying that it is a description of a destination versus motion, because the actual destination differs depending on where you start out.
Your spatial destination, you're thinking of space, but the body and all those K signs are really body-related signs, not directional, not the standard cross of axis.
True.
Because even in folding, it's not saying how much you're folding away from, it's how far you're folding to.
Yes, you arrive.
Exactly, so it is,
Yes.
so it's destinational. It's not saying fold 3 degrees away from forward high, it's saying from where you are, fold forward 3 degrees, which is destinational.
Well, it could be either way. I mean, you can, I always see it as being,
The only thing that might be motion is unfolding. But even then,
No,
you're
you
going
mean-
back to your original
So you-
destination.
Yeah.
Back to a normal state. Yes.
Two other ones maybe that could be filled in with paradigm. By default, we say the direction sign, the support sign, but what about the direction sign with an arrow in it? Wouldn't that be considered a motion?
Yes.
And the other one is when we do turning, you don't put the white pin in anymore, but are there times with turning signs, are there ways of making a turn sign into motion versus destination?
Turn signs are motion.
Right,
You have to state the destination.
right. So those are other two. Are there any others that would be interesting? I'm just trying to think of any other actions.
I just said something I don't understand. Is that the forward sign in the
V.
V, you know where you're going to end up.
No, you don't.
With forward middle.
You don't end up
You don't.
forward middle. That's the whole
It's a
point.
motion to forward middle.
it's a motion
Yes, so
forward of
wherever
where
you
you
are,
are.
there's forward middle.
Right. It's a
You're
motion to,
moving toward it.
not arriving at.
Exactly.
But in a glossary, you could, in a choreographic work, say that there is the option of actually arriving there, but not necessarily. So in a score, I have glossarized it as saying it's definitely approaching. But if you do happen to get to forward middle, don't get upset about it. It's okay.
Brenton had a
Because
question.
when they're moving around that fast,
And
sometimes
Brenton.
it's
Brendan?
Hey.
That's
I just wanted to toss in
interpretation.
one more,
Yeah,
and
but that's
I
what I'm
don't
saying
know
in a
where
choreographic
the
work.
shape qualities fits in the distinctions between what IMS and you all are doing in terms of motif symbols. But when we have the shape qualities, which are rising, sinking, advancing, retreating, those for me would be motion, but without a destination implied.
I would concur because wait a minute. Yes, because the direction that they're associated with it's a distal analysis. and a distal analysis is motion. I mean, if I'm gonna the analysis of a direction sign with an arrow in it is you put the system of reference at the distal part of whatever it is you're talking about, right? So it becomes
But not necessarily. Not necessarily, because there are many times, for example, when you're doing Indian hand movement and you use the
Yes.
system of reference where you've got the hand as the system of reference, you're still speaking destination. But it may be, the hand may be in any position, but it's really a destination with respect to the hand.
I'm talking about this symbol.
Here.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. E. So even in that, I mean, I don't know. Let's say, get back to my
I
point.
mean, I don't
and then
disagree
say,
that E is
Motion.
motion. I'm just saying that I wouldn't describe it as saying you have a system of reference that is at the distal end.
okay, in that situation. But in terms of when, as I understand it, when we use the shape, if you could put something like, you know, what the shape, you know what Brenton is talking about, are these kind of symbols. You know about these, we don't have to get into them, but,
Yeah.
right, Brenton?
That's right.
All right, that you're talking about the equivalent, if you were going
Right.
to describe it as a direction sign, which I know is not kosher, but let's say you were, it would be using E as opposed to the symbols in C. In other words,
E
the
or D.
analysis of the shape symbols is done by it's from here, not here in relationship to the center here. The center of the cross of axis on C would be on if it was a gesture. If you're using
You mean E?
no, if I was making a gesture and I'm making direction signs, not in the support column, but in the gesture column,
Yes.
then I put the center of the cross of axis at my shoulder. So then I end up, right? If I'm using E, the cross of axis is here on the distal place, and that's the way that you analyze the shape symbols. Do you concur? You don't understand what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. Anyway,
Now,
That's-
I
May
also had
I,
a question.
may I
Yeah.
answer? The performance of this, I'm not sure I agree with you, Charlotte, because
oh, it's
when-
this. It's this.
No, it is not.
It's this.
No, it is not.
Okay.
Let's say it's the right arm.
Okay.
Wherever you are,
Right.
the extremity is going to go on forward horizontal path.
Right. That's
So
what it's.
it's here,
Right.
it's there,
Right.
etc.
I agree. Maybe my performance was wrong. I was destination, motion.
But
Motion.
you're saying that D,
Destination.
when you described it, I was surprised. You said moving towards forward middle. And if your arm starts out here,
D.
I'm asking a question. Because when you first described it, you said moving towards forward middle. If you start here and your hand is moving, would you be moving towards forward middle of the body, or would you be moving
Forward,
along
middle.
C, the pathway which would indicate motion forward middle of where you are? Which would it be?
So the
D. If you
performance of D.
the performance of D.
All right, so there
Right.
is your forward middle
Yes,
point.
but you're here. Your hand is here, and you're doing it with your hand.
If I'm here,
Right.
is that the hand or the arm?
The
At the
hand.
moment, we're talking about arm gestures.
Okay,
Arm.
the hand.
I
If you-
think it-
well, I have the question related to hand because
Okay.
Okay, so then
Ah.
this is forward middle for the hand,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so I would be moving toward that, but not arriving. If you're arriving, then just right forward middle.
And it's the same. It's the same for the arm as well. You know.
but you'd also be doing this if your hand is rotated.
I think we can keep to the more simpler examples to start with. So we're all on, as they say, on the same page. So,
Because that's not an understood palm facing for side middle. So, I mean, I think what Anne's asking is if you're going to do something like this, go with the understood. Don't start doing exceptions
that's
to the
why-
rule, because
well-
that's adding notation and symbols
Well,
that
that's
are...
why I'm trying to think it through the different levels, you know, first.
Well, we don't even understand the first one yet, so just keep understood, whatever that may be.
So
Yes.
E is going, we said E is motion, but it's motion towards a destination.
no. E with the
D,
arrow
I don't
in
mean
it.
D, I meant D.
Oh, D.
D, we're saying that the analysis of this is that I go towards the place that's in relationship to
Yep.
this. So in a way, it's kind of a mixed bag, isn't it?
It's a motion toward
A,
a point.
and that point is analyzed with the cross of axis
The standard,
at the standard thing, and the standard thing is a destination.
right.
So it's going towards
It's a
the
destination.
place that we usually say is the destination.
Mhm.
So that's what I mean. So it's kind of a mixed thing.
You see, the system chose mainly to use destination, certainly in the early days. But all these things have come later. Why? If you say, I'm traveling uptown, how much? You don't know. And that the unknown quantity is distance. How far do you go? If you say, I'm traveling to Times Square, you have a destination that's easy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we prefer, we're more secure with destinations.
Mm-hmm.
But so much of the movement expression is from unfinished movements that didn't arrive at somewhere, you see, shapes or whatever, but that we're moving away. We can also move away. I'm forward middle, and I move away from there. Away can be anywhere. So
With the decreasing sign.
Brenton has
Brenton has something to say.
I just wanted to add that it seems like part of the complexity is that there's a distinction between the process of moving and the destination. One could emphasize one or the other, but to emphasize the process, we still need to talk about how where the process is going, and so it seems inevitable that we're going to have some kind of indication of destination, even if it's the destination of the process, and the process is what we're emphasizing.
I think at times, I think there's also improvisation that takes place where they just say move away from.
Yeah, true, right.
Well, just in I just finished a Mark Morris score, and I used Peggy's rising and retreating because it was the absolute perfect description.
Right.
A woman's getting pushed, and she's just reacting to the men pushing.
Right.
And so it was just simply rising and retreating away from them, and it was like, thank you, Peggy.
And certainly those reference spatial places, but the emphasis is on that process of shaping.
Yeah.
The
Exactly.
there is an attitudinal, I think that's what you're talking about, the qualitative attitudinal, the intent of the movement, and that's what you were talking about, that we're trying to capture regardless. Am I, do I have a sense of the motion? Do I have a sense of the destination? And so if an A and B, say, or in any situation that's motion.
What do A and B say? That's my question.
Well, let me add another thing to this, and then you can maybe go back. Could we put an increasing bow with a flexion sign in it, or an increasing bow with a flexion, and then a finishes
when you
at.
say flexion, you mean
I mean a contraction.
We're talking about A.
A.
We have
A
that.
with a finish.
I know, but put that again.
Again?
A and then
But then I agree
And
with
then-
Anne, then just write where you finish.
Well, but that's what the point I'm trying to make is and then put a
Connecting
small
bow.
a connecting
resultant-
bow,
a
a
resultant
resulting bow.
bow.
Right, that I finish where? Should I finish?
Well, you don't have much choice.
All right, could we make it I go toward getting smaller,
And you finish touching his shoulder.
or I finish in a.
you
If
don't know exactly
if
how
I
far
say
it's gonna
I move toward getting very small. That should be if I move towards getting very small, it means I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, right? But I have the sense that I'm moving toward this. If I say I'm moving toward this and I end up 3 degrees bent, that now put a I'm sorry.
And I agree with
Destination.
Sandra. If the destination is 3
okay,
degrees bent, why not just put 3
The
degrees?
reason is
Because
the
she's trying to emphasize the motion towards the destination and not the destination
And I'm
itself.
trying to
but-
get at what Brenton is saying, that even if you want to say, in fact, end up here, I want you to have the sense of the motion toward it. I want to.
Okay, so you can combine, but
Yeah.
it still brings us to, I just wanted to say you might be here, and motion towards single X could be this move.
Right.
Not
Right.
necessarily, you see?
Yes. Yes.
Can I answer
I
your
think-
question from previously about A and B?
Yes.
From the structured LN position, out of context, it's hard to know what you're asking, because are you saying approach 1 degree contraction or 4 degree contraction, or are you saying spatially a little bit or
a lot.
even less? Well, in this case, a little or even less.
If this
Because
lot
a
of
lot
bend.
would be N. Oh, yes,
A lot of bend.
yes, a lot of bend. Correct, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So,
In structured out of context, I wouldn't
these
know what you
are
want.
destinations.
Say it again. You
They
feel
are destinations.
the whole thing. So if I start here.
So, because if you had,
Do I get a gold sticker?
We can make you one.
We should have little gold stars and
In
pass
this
them
part, and
around.
at the end of the meeting, who got the most gold stars, right? Okay. So
Okay,
my arm
so-
is here.
the usual meaning is a destination.
Right. I end up here.
Now, if that is the case and those signs are destination, how are you going to show motion? And how are you going to indicate amount?
Now wait a minute.
So
You're
we've
saying
that's a huge problem in all of our schools. We've been writing that. And
Meaning,
who the heck knows? It depends on the notator, and no one's glossarizing it.
Can-
So in
say that
context,
loudly.
But in a score,
Say
you've
it
always
again
got, in a
loudly.
score, you've always got a position or something before that
Context.
sign. So you,
no, it doesn't matter. Even if you still, in context of the choreographic work, don't know if the notator's telling you to approach a significant amount of contraction or specifically 4 degrees.
I thought this meant an increase in -2. A is an increase in -2, whatever the
Yes.
X means.
But
an
the
increase
X-
in what?
An
Nearness.
increase
Nearness.
in nearness to something.